Most motivational speakers are an overhyped scam, and it's motivating to realize that. Motivational speakers, faith healers, spiritual leaders, demagogue politicians, fitness gurus, business mentors, celebrity know-it-alls, a lot of them tend to be one big fake hype you don't need. They get paid to patronize us with their exaggerated success stories and vague, vapid advice, all of which we can alternatively get free online, while they laugh all the way to the bank. If their exclusive, abstract advice worked, then all their millions of cult member followers on Instagram would all be, well, millionaires. Instead, they're not. The followers remain hopeful romantic wannabes who just follow the flock, because unfortunately hope dies last, and hope is addictive. And maybe that's why some don't want to move on to true success, and choose to remain in the wishful thinking zone. But the thing about hope and false hope, sometimes it's worse not knowing when to quit something, cut your losses and move on. And instead you just hang on to a dead dream. Some motivational speakers, just like religious figureheads, provide misleading social proof with their overenthusiastic, impressionable cult following who would cheer with anything that vaguely sounds cheery, positive, and kumbaya. They manipulate the human need to believe in something better, an emotional need which tramps all logical skepticism and empiricism to the contrary. All they need to do is advertise a faux consequential image full of recycled inspirational babble, an over-dramatized backstory, and condescending common sense advice that, more often than not, results in either demotivating or keeping people hooked on the drug of motivation and not the aim of motivation, which is productive work. For example, I love Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as an actor, but the idea that he's considered now to have the subjective authority and credibility of a motivational speaker, as if he had it so bad to begin with, and he's somehow in touch with the underdogs and knows what the struggles of the little guy are, is telling of how out of touch with reality we've become. He goes around delivering speeches and boasting about his apocalyptic tragedies of not being accepted in the NFL and how he persevered through hard times and became successful anyway. And people listen to him and believe they can do it too. All of them, including him, completely disregarding the fact that he was fortunate enough to be born in the States, the country of opportunity. And yeah, try growing up in any country other than that, where there's no NFL or university sports scholarships, Dwayne. Also, that he was blessed with good genetics, objectively of height and looks, for example, and that his biggest problem was that he wasn't good enough for the NFL, like almost everyone on the planet. Where's that river you were supposed to cry me? He then went on to use his size and access to performance-enhancing drugs to make impressions. Yeah, check his enormous hormone-induced gyno in his 90s WWF appearances. Sure, his charisma helped, but don't think for a second that he understands what you're going through and what struggles you're facing in your strife in life. Yeah, it rhymes there, strife in life. Maybe I'll make a t-shirt of it. So yeah, the hypocrisy of a lifetime sponsored athlete on steroids who's never held a 9-to-5 and who somehow found the audacity to lecture us about the hardships of fitness is telling. Sorry, Dwayne, you may motivate 13-year-old boys who still believe that WWE is real, but you're going to have a hard time gaining credibility toward the higher side of the intelligence spectrum. You know, guys who work 60-hour weeks and still make time for the gym. That's the motivation that speaks to adults. And no disrespect for what motivational speakers have accomplished and for helping people get the right mindset. I mean, they saw opportunities and took them and made the best of them. But let's stay connected to reality and refrain from evoking the halo effect fallacy, by which success in one thing somehow means authority in everything. Even Eminem, who's considered to be a classic underdog turned millionaire example, who can't shut up about how bad he had it, the whiny drama queen, was fortunate enough to be blessed with the timely circumstances and opportunities that allowed him to be associated with the pretend gangster rich boys of the 90s who noticed him and filled in the market demand for a snowflake rapper. Sure, he had some talent, but talent alone is never enough. Talent is 10 a penny. That's why you get so many street performers with insane talent to rival the biggest celebrities, but somehow they never get noticed. They just never got the shot. And now Eminem, approaching 50 with most of his life being a multimillionaire, still thinks he has the authority or realistic situational awareness of the way of the world to lecture us, still in his whiny songs about how hard he had it and how miraculous his efforts were. Give us a break, Slim. Like this guy, for example, Gary V, if you know him. He's a popular motivational guy with a huge following, and all he does all day long is motivate people with the generic business stuff and inspiration and what have you. In this post of his, he's calling his followers lazy. Here he clearly disrespects his followers and fails to acknowledge their individual struggles. And obviously here he has less than a firm grasp of reality. He fails to recognize the admiration his followers pay him, and he's simply being a dick. This sort of in-your-face coaching doesn't work long-term. Sports psychology best practice says anything but that. Do you think you're motivating anyone by calling them lazy and telling them that they're so dumb to not use the wonder of the internet as if they never thought of it? Cut me some slack, G. Setting up a social media campaign isn't rocket science. It takes more than that to succeed for most people, unlike in your case. And this guy just makes impressions, but that's all he's good at, making impressions with people who never make it and are stuck in a perpetual fight to succeed something which remains always in the future. Because if this guy was good at something else, he would be doing that. He'd be inventing products and providing something of essence. And those who follow him, if his motivational did work, would be somewhere instead of, well, just following him. Sorry man, people like Gary V are scammers and they are the new priesthood, just filling in the need of people to believe in something. Just believe and receive the feel-good rhetoric that means nothing but instant gratification comfort. You might say that accusing someone of being lazy will give them the drive to work harder to prove me wrong. That's BS, it doesn't work, and this is not what sports psychology research concludes. This might work in the short run only for a few people. And before you accuse me of being jealous of these people, I'd be more jealous of a celebrity porn star than these people, because both sell something fake. At least porn stars are more honest about it. I don't think these people are successful because they can't get up in the morning and look at their face in the mirror. No amount of money can buy me self-respect, so I cannot feel jealous of them. Pseudoscientific babble and common sense truisms serve to quickly motivate the masses short term, but end up, for the most part, delivering unrealistic expectations which leave people worse off than before, disappointed, bitter, and with less cash in hand. Sure, we need to hear something positive, and most people need the encouragement they never got from their parents, but we should know when to leave the house. Motivational speakers are the new preachers. They round up impressionable masses who just need to hear something positive and who are so easily taken into the rush of the moment. And they feel so much joy and hope by sitting down and listening to someone instead of just doing something about their lives. And when they have to go home and actually work, they feel the need to listen to more motivational talk and to read the next Napoleon Hill BS book on how to get rich instead of actually getting rich. Because that next book will make the difference, right? So what these speakers end up doing is detrimental to the little guy. They turn the masses addicted to short, hopeful messages, and in most cases, they keep them down and do more harm than good. Sure, inspiration is good, but one meme or motivational quote a week will do for most people. What you need to be addicted to is the work that you love, that will eventually give you success, regardless of positive feedback and results. Because success is not money. If that were true, then a celebrity prostitute would be considered successful. Success is making a living out of doing what you do for free anyway. Well, maybe that applies to some prostitutes. To wrap things up, I don't think there's much value to be gained from most motivational speakers and their faux enthusiastic attitude and over-exaggerated success stories. It's all an act. Most of them, if not all, are intellectually dishonest as they don't appreciate how lucky they were in life. And of course, they'll want to believe and advertise that it was all 100% because of their own efforts. Having said that, however, despite your misfortune in life, you should never dwell on self-pity and you should constantly try to make the best of your given situation. Be accountable for what you do from now on, but don't take responsibility for your past misfortune, as these motivational speakers want you to. Sure, admit mistakes, but mostly, we don't have control over life. If you continue blaming yourself, you will end up in self-pity. And don't hold motivational speakers responsible for their own fortune in life either, which was mostly the result of good fortune and opportunity. And this is the greatest problem. Sure, you must understand that you're the only one who is responsible for your life. But random bad things happen to you that were not your fault. And you need to also understand that, so that blame and guilt don't take over you. You must acknowledge both. And most motivational speakers don't want you to, because they go around saying that we all get what we deserve and have worked hard for, because that's what they want to believe since they're successful. It's in their best interest to promote that narrative. They seldom mention, most of them, their luck and opportunity, and seldom acknowledge how harder it is for others who, despite their misfortune, still find the time and money to go to a motivational seminar or boot camp. When the excitement settles after listening to Tony Robbins, and that average mom looking to start a small business goes home to her reality, she'll see that she paid someone to hear him say how awesome and better he is, while suggesting that she's too stupid and lazy to have done the same, without receiving any practical advice. Motivational speakers always tell you not to make excuses for your failures, then they make excuses themselves for their failures when their listeners and their high-paying mentees fail, because somehow they didn't listen to them and didn't take action. So my advice is, don't take advice from people with double standards, with no consistency in their beliefs, who tell you to be accountable when they're not, and who don't appreciate how uniquely lucky they were in life, while pressuring you to somehow be thankful for having less. Key takeaway: we need to be more thoughtful and skeptical about who we give our respect and admiration, because most will use our attachment to them to inflate their hype, offer nothing other than false hope, and grab our money while doing so. You must understand that these people only want to gain a lucrative following, and most of them will not let honesty and integrity get in the way of selling. And good evidence for how fake most of them are is that if everyone was successful, then they wouldn't be, because they'd have no one to lecture. And not everyone can succeed, only those who happen to catch the opportunities. So it's intellectually dishonest for them to speak to thousands of people as if all of them will succeed or have the potential to. They won't. Realistically, no matter how smart they are, all of them don't have the potential to succeed. Some will, but most won't. They can't. It's just economics. If everyone was successful, no one would be. So less listening and more doing is what we need. We can't waste too much time and money on these people. Be your own motivator. Sure, you can start with some self-improvement readings, some motivational inspiration by these speakers. Why not? But the next step is to quickly get out of the addictive comfort of needing them. Escape the trap before it hooks you, and get rid of them and move on once you're ready. In essence, I think we need motivational speakers, but nowhere near as much. I hope this video motivates you to get into the right mentality to accomplish what you want next in life. Thank you for listening. You're awesome.